probably need to be squeezing 400 or 500 a night. Altogether during the season, we might dry 20,000 of them.
So you want to dry the whole persimmon,
Okay.
as opposed to maybe slicing it and drying it?
Yeah, different product, tradition. Okay. That's probably the biggest thing driving it. If it were just a matter of eating something that tasted like a persimmon and was preserved so it wouldn't, that you can eat it any time of the year, the dehydrating makes a lot more sense. But some of the differences, though, is that the product that we're making is a lot softer, even gushy compared to what we used to do. We used to get it pretty dry. You probably had to slice it to eat it. It was more like something you might find in trail mix. As soft as as soft as our premium grade is, when you bite into it, it just kind of oozes, mushes in your mouth. My wife was a speech therapist. She said, everybody doesn't like that sensation in their mouth. I said, what do you mean? That's great. Would you rather have hard candy or a nice soft centered chocolate, right?
Are you talking about the big round one that's so soft it kind of just melts?
Yeah, but we have to do this when those are still hard. Yeah. And then I would say you probably could do it with any of the persimmons that are orange flesh inside.
Yeah.
But there are several persimmons we have that are brown flesh inside. Okay, they've got more flavor. I like the idea of using them when you're baking because they're dark, they're flavorful. So it's like you get more spicy. Like.
What are the names of those?
So you have maru, you have tsurunoko or nagamaru. Maru means round, and nagamaru the long, round. So it's more oblong. Hyakume, sometimes it's just speckled with brown, and it's astringent. So we treat it with vodka to sweeten it, and that's why there's one persimmon in here that says vodka persimmon. But once you treat them, they're like peaches at that point. If you go to check to see if they're going to be soft, then you're going to leave a bruise that'll show up tomorrow or the next day. And so when you come here during peach season, all these times, don't handle the peaches. And they'll say, well, how do I buy them? Well, just pick it up, stick it in the thing. You get it home, you don't like it, then come back and we'll give you some more. But we don't want people to check them out, and then a day or two later, if it didn't sell, it's got all these soft spots on them, wet spots on them. But that's the difference between store fruit and what we're trying to do. And all farm stands don't try to go with overripe fruit. But even with the mandarins, we like to feel soft, the skin and all. When it starts to have give to it, we know that there's juice inside. Whereas if they're still hard, we think, well, it's going to still be tart or whatever. Optimum flavors after it starts to break down. But there are people who will check them and say, well, those aren't fresh. They're too soft. I've even bought from other farmers and actually gone out in an orchard and picked, and they looked at what I picked and were surprised that I would take those, which did them a favor because they wouldn't have picked them and sold the soft ones. And yet that's all I was after, was the soft ones. Because, we tell people when you come here for fruit, it's meant to be eaten now. Don't try to save it for a week or 2 or 3. Just eat with the season. When it's over, it's over. It'll come back next year. And we try to grow something year round. My mother-in-law's parents started this place. They bought it 101 years ago. Well, it was deeded 101 years ago. Because her siblings were born here, we think they lived here before that even. And so some of these trees are 90, 95 years old. These two and the olive tree in the yard in front of the building. The rest of the trees probably, unless they're very big or very old, are probably from the 30s or 40s or then my father-in-law would have planted a good portion of them. There are trees down there that look really bad, but they are still there because my father-in-law used to say to me, Grandpa planted this one, Grandpa planted that one. And so they stayed. Or it's a landmark. Go down to Turkey House Road. Well, there's no Turkey House and there's no road. But that tree that's only about this tall because it died and now it's starting to come back, that tree is the landmark. So if I say Turkey House Road, my wife goes down that tree and she hangs a right. There it is. But so that's another reason things stay. Or if the kids remember when I was little, I climbed in this tree or that tree. Oh, it's so sad, it's starting to die or whatever. Okay, we'll leave it another year. And then my son even took to doing, is it permaculture? But anyways, oh, that's worms. Okay,
No,
Permaculture.
there's another whatever where you do it in layers. You mulch in layers and different ingredients in each layer. So I had a couple of dead trees back there, and I was cutting one down. Well, I was going to cut them both down, and he insisted on doing this. And then I cut the one down anyway, and he was really upset at me. The other one looks like a really healthy tree now. It's a different variety.
So he mulched right under the tree.
Mulched under the tree about 10 feet around the tree, but he had something went first, then the next thing, and the next thing, and
Interesting.
So the biodynamic or something.
well,
It's hard to mulch around tree roots. That's the thing. You can't mess with tree roots.
yeah, I told a couple more thousand trees, but that's and interesting enough because we quit spraying, we don't use any chemicals, we don't use chemical fertilizers. What are we doing? Now we're going back and trying to enrich the soil with compost, with